Alright, new episode. That fight and conversation made the last one a little long. What do we got here? Mayor Wald's Grimoire? Blip. Primal Wind. Oh, that's an ingredient, right? Gotcha. The sickly, sweet smell of rot rises from this half-eaten fruit. A worn book lies on the table, its pages filled with nonsensical scrawls.
I'll give it a try, at least. As requested.
A little bit of money.
I'll give it a try, at least. As requested.
So that's unfortunate that he had to die, but he was too far gone, attacking people on sight, because he has many, many past lives, and some of them are pretty violent. You kinda with that Aldo said? Yep. That's Aloth's other personality, which is likely also a past life in a similar way that he's lost control of. Anyway, kinda clearly wants to talk to me. I hope I haven't missed previous instances of this. I don't know if you can miss them or if they just stay there and continue to wait for you, but that is incredibly easy to not notice, that tiny quote bubble hanging out. You'll notice it eventually if it stays there forever, but if it disappears when you leave the room or something, it'd be super easy to not notice, and that worries me.
Poor Mayor Wald. He couldn't contend with all that he knew of himself. A cruel fate.
It may be my fate, too. It may. But Mayor Wald knew his curse, for all that he succumbed to it. Perhaps he gave you what you need to escape his fate. Let's seek out these ruins he mentioned. We may find something of use. He lost his mind as 100 personalities all fought for dominance at once. Hard to say how many, actually, but some quantity. Let's look into whether or not I should equip you with something. Hello, Kana. So your weapon is a fine S-Stock. 19 to 27 pierce. Okay, no, that's not what I'm looking at. Brigand. Ooh. Dude, you are decked out. DR10. Wow. I was gonna say, like, he probably doesn't have that strong of a piece of armor on. He probably should be equipped with something more effective, but he's got freaking DR10. It is funny that my tank has the lowest DR of all of my melee units, from his chest piece at least, but it's because this does some other cool stuff that I kind of want to hold on to. Bonus DR against Pierce, and then especially the bring him back to life effect. Seems pretty strong. Although at some point, it might outrank that. Huh. That helps a bit. 19 to 27. S-Stock does 2 more damage. Yeah. Right, it's the much maligned weapon from Dark Souls that people would use. Because it's the one that's known as being or at least people like to contend is overpowered. And in this case, on top of being fine and doing 2 more damage than the Great Sword, it also has 5 DR bypass, which is pretty good. I may want to give him the interrupt talent that my other character has too, because that's pretty good. It's just a better weapon than a fine Great Sword as far as I can tell. Oh, right, there's the difference, because an S-Stock is exclusively pierce damage, and this is slash pierce. And I'm not sure how to weigh those against each other in their value, necessarily. Anyway, this probably has stats on it. Yep, disengage defense. It's better than not having a cape. None of these have stats, I believe. So we don't need to go with those. Does yours have stats? 1 intellect from Kana's Turban. He looks way better in... Yeah, it's consistent. It happens a lot. They all look better in their thumbnails than they do in their character portraits. They don't even look like the same person half the time. Like, the turban does not look like that thing. And he doesn't have any dreads poking out. What does he look like without it? Alright. Yeah, he has completely different dreadlocks than his picture shows. So even the pre-made companions that are built into the campaign don't match up. You kind of figured that you'd make those main characters and then make assets that match those main characters' portraits. And then kind of work from there, just because they're pre-generated. But that's this genre sometimes, I suppose. Anyway, I need to slowly work on actually decking out these characters with gear, because there's a lot of empty slots, and that's going to matter more and more, I'm sure. Let's see, so we currently have 2 Grimoires on Aloth. So we have this one we found before from Ludrana, where we can learn Ghost Blades, Chill Fog, Fetid Carcass. What did the new one have? More. Chill Fog again. Spirit Shield, Thrust of Tattered Veils, Bulwark against the Elements, and Fireball. A level 3 spell. Ooh. Can I even cast it if I learn it? 300 copper. How much money do I have? It would be nice if it said it on that screen. 900. So that's the freeze and blind one. Spirit Shield. Oh, gives the caster bonus damage reduction and concentration. I like to take the approach of trying not to let the caster take damage in the first place. Fast, range of 10 meters, bunch of crush damage, and a higher chance of hitting, basically, versus deflection. Alright. And a strong interrupt. Cool. Yeah, it's just a big physical attack. Strong for a first level spell, I think. Bulwark against the elements, 15 damage reduction of all elements for allies. Nope, just for himself. A lot of self-cast buffs that are often things I'd want to put on the tank instead. Fireball. Big, scary fireball. Hits an area of effect of 3.5 meters at a range of 10 meters, which is pretty good. The problem is that it hits allies, so like inherently you'd kind of want to... I feel like you'd want to like try to intercept them while they're coming at you, but it takes a while to cast a spell. Like you click on an area and then he does the whole casting animation and everything. So it can take a while for it to go off, and by the time you do that, you have to like lead the shot, or they might not be in the range of the attack when it happens. Alternatively, you can throw it at the enemy's back line, like try to wipe out their spellcasters in the back. And if you aim it just right, maybe you'll hit their melee guys too with like the fringe of it or something. But you can hit their ranged support and do some damage that way. Just something you have to be careful with, because it can hit your allies. Yeah. Would be a good spell to have. I don't even have level 3 spells at the moment. I don't know if I even can cast level 3 spells. Like, is there a way to see what my spells per day are, per tier, as this character? Without, you know, before I have them, of course. Like, what is my overall cast with this character? He might not have level 3 spells per day because he hasn't cast any level 3 spells. He might have to learn some of them first before I can do anything else with them. Anyway, I'm just curious. Can I talk to people? Just at random? Probably, but like, I wonder if you can get new conversation out of that.
Hi?
Aloth looks at you with quiet attentiveness. How may I be of service? How long were you in Gilded Vale? He shrugs, fidgeting with the hem of his sleeve. Not much longer than you, as you saw. It was hardly the haven that had been advertised. Tell me about Adir. I've been gone for more than a year now, but I suspect I'll always think of the forests and fields of Adir as home. We've thousands of years of history and tradition behind us, and there's a sense of dignity and responsibility that comes with that. He frowns. Of course, there's baggage as well. Our imperial past is still fresh in the minds of many, as you may have noticed here. Has it been difficult to adjust to the Deerwood? People here are informal, hot-blooded. His mouth twists into a wry smirk. More attentive to insult than to duty. But as long as one avoids provocation, it's easy enough to get along. He steeples his fingers. I've gotten accustomed enough to keeping my thoughts to myself anyway. Well, except for the other you, which you don't want to acknowledge, but you clearly are aware of. He feigned ignorance that the other voice even existed, which was really silly because it was really obvious when we first met him, but he was literally just talking to his other voice openly. We'll see how when that goes further, I guess. Any thoughts on what I should do next? He tugs at his sleeves. Mayor Wald urged you to seek out these leaden key agents in Defiance Bay, yes? If his condition is any warning, we should find them with all haste. That's all. I'll check in on people here and there. It's worth looking into. Some of this dialogue is definitely temporary, because it's related to what the current quest is. So that'll go away over time. Not the most vital stuff ever, but it's nice to not miss it too. Just let them find new targets on their own, because they'll take a little while. Yeah, a lot of these fights I don't have to really actively take part in at the moment.
Hey.
No, don't talk to him. Loot the thing.
Yeah. Hey.
Why do you fight me? There you go. Like, this isn't hard, dude. I'm not clicking on you. Ooh, +2 reflex on boots. Do you have boots of evasion? You probably don't have boots yet, do you? No, you don't. Alright, tanky boy. Achieve maximum tankitude. Because you have boots from this, yeah, the Explorer set, which I'm role-playing into putting on my Explorer protagonist, because that was his origin, which may not ever come up again, but that was his origin. Cobblestones and bricks are bound to the rusted old cart by thick spiderwebs. Yeah, having a chanter protagonist that is like a... Oop. Oh, a Zarup. I thought these guys were going to be more friendly, because the first one was. But now they're always attacking me, and it makes me sad. Ooh. Weird barrier down here. What's up with that? There's a bit more of this floor than I thought at first. We just encountered that guy immediately at the beginning. I thought that one hallway was going to be the entire floor, I guess. A fine rapier. Somebody has a rapier as their offhand, don't they? Do you? Might as well make it a good one. Spirit shield. Damage reduction and concentration. If you can remember to use it. I'm bad at using consumables. Yeah, you have a rapier. I might as well give you a good one now. Isn't this fun? They don't have a... I mean, honestly, when I find my ranger, she'll probably already have a better bow. But I'll hold on to it anyway, until I'm sure. I think we're beyond the saber at this point. That away. That's a lot of Zarup items. Ooh, a key. That's good.
Nice and quiet.
I've got to do this really annoying mechanic that's unfortunate, where you have to go into sneak mode in every room for a bit, just because that's the only way you'll ever find secrets. Like, oh yeah, you have a mechanic skill that helps you find stuff? Well, you better press the stealth button periodically, or they'll never find it. Whoa. Cool. Giant stag beetles. That was just cool looking. We're gonna be fighting those in a bit. Casting takes a while for you, huh? A skeleton? Uh-oh. That sword away. The stone beetle. Fuck him up. No! Oh, I meant all of you. I meant all of you fuck it up. Not just the priest alone. Oh god. That was a mistake. Weapon ineffective, Aloth. Adair. Uh-oh. Yep, stone beetles are probably resilient to things. Let's make it take some fire damage, see if that helps out at all. Endurance is also ineffective. But now all the damage I do will do bonus magic damage, so that should help a bit. And if I do Holy Radiance, the bonus accuracy will help with doing crits, which will help spike stuff a bit. Knockdown. Weapon ineffective. Gon's share heals at everyone endurance. Isn't that nice? Prone for 5 seconds, 3 crush damage. Is that minimum? Yeah, 3.1 crush is the minimum damage. That's a pretty... That's a high minimum compared to what we've seen before. Alright. Now's the bad.
Lightning bolt.
And reduce... This is going to take out their damage reduction and pump up their lightning damage taken. There we go. Yep. Beetle shell. Add it to the epic crafting stash. Golden obol. So that's 18 value per obol, right? Times 11 instances. So that's like a big spike of value. Yep, 1300. When a moment ago I had 900. Yeah. Jeez, maybe I will learn Fireball. The only issue is just that there's other characters that could use stuff. Like I could use gear and stuff like that for my cast, for example. I'm a little torn. I'm going to rest. Too many people are in the low yellows on health. And I'm not in any hurry to get anyone out of health. Because they'll probably take, like, permanent effects. Because the game was, like... The game threatens you with something. I forgot what it was called, but it sounded a lot like what D&D does, where... Or some versions of role-playing games where, like, being near... Basically almost dying can cause, like, permanent scars on your character sometimes. A shimmering wall of energy extends across this doorway like a curtain. It repels forward movement with unnatural force. Interesting. Perhaps the voice in that throne upstairs knows more. Yep. Okana thinks that the spirit in the throne will answer our questions about that. Worth a check. It's a reasonable guess. If nothing else, we don't fucking know. It's a really strange... We've seen a lot of sights, and that's not a familiar one for us yet. That kind of bizarre... Here's a weird force field blocking progress is a new one. AoE. AoE. They're fucking up my Kana. That guy. You cut that out. I think Kana got the sole focus of the biggest, most scariest one. Oh, he exploded. That'll do it. These fights are over fast. It's definitely the one downside of Chanters. Having two separate stacking AoE, good thing happens to the good guys, bad things happen to the bad guys effect is pretty nice. But, having their primary spellcasting require them to be in a fight for X amount of time, basically, definitely means that they, don't get to whip everything out during minor fights. Okay, Aloth, you're blocking the door. Thank you. Somehow my ranged guys are always always in front of my melee guys. There we go. Oh right, I haven't checked this yet. This is the new skill I got. I thought it was going to be like something related to this building. Speaker to the restless, 2 per rest. The Watcher speaks directly to the souls of his or her enemies, filling them with dread of what awaits them in the wheel. Foe AoE, that's strong. So frightened effect. Reduced resolve and dexterity and accuracy. Brutal. Whip that out in big scary fights, huh? Yep, that got a kill. I did the AoE push back. I kind of trade off here and there just to try to play around with my toys sometimes. I've got all these different, look at all these different toys I got. Yep, that's what the gash was. It was the skeletons going away. They didn't have time to help that much this time. 245. Wow. My coffers overfloweth suddenly.
Yeah.
Yeah, my big... The thing I'm torn on is just that I can learn spells as Aloth, or I can save up and check out what the next vendor has for me, because I might be able to get something really good for my very many empty slots on these characters. There's humans here. Oh. That's a... Or humanoids, at least. That's a lot of them. Okay. I'm spreading out my guys a little bit because we don't want them reaching my casters if I can avoid it. Okay. Let's see, this is a faux AoE? Yeah. Blind them dudes. That'll fuck them up. There we go. My guys are healed up. They're blinded. This is a bad time for them, just all around. For a little AoE down there. Adair, who are you engaged with? That's Adair. Knock... ooh, a knight. Knock him on his ass. Boom! Weapon ineffective. Shit. Well, that's not good. Durance killed the looter. There we go. In a moment here, I should be getting some casts. Oh yeah, here we go. That'll deal with that guy as we summon bad news on him. And you can cover these guys in lightning, which is a faux AoE. Yeah. And that'll really clear up this group. Yeah. So that 4 hits, 2 crits. That's a lot of shock damage. I didn't realize there was still 4 enemies to hit in that group. Way to hit. Does it bounce targets at all? I don't think it does. I seem to hit the gold packed knight twice. Is there more than one gold packed knight in here? I think there's not. But I seem to hit them both twice. I'm not sure. Either way, I did a cone of damage. It did damage in the cone. I'm fine. We're in a good spot. Come on, give me that summon.
That's not very helpful.
Oh yeah, now he's screwed. Now you're thoroughly screwed. Nobody should have a ... right now, right? Now everyone's just in the middle of their animation speeds or whatever. Oh my god. That summon is so effective. It's so great at just destroying their back line where they think they're safe. Bunch of food items. Hood. These don't have stats, right? Yeah. These are just items.
As you say.
Yeah.
Huh. What happened to him? We didn't do that. Coco. He has Coco. And a frog helm. Huh. Is that what that's what they call that kind of helm? The weirdly top-heavy looking thing? Huh. He was dead before we got here. What were you guys doing? How'd you guys get past all... How did they get past all the creatures on the way in? Is it this? Did you get through this wall? No, because that's where Merwind was? So, I don't know how those looters even got in here. I have a question. You know what? Let's sneak.
Nice and slow.
Sneak about a bit. Somebody should notice something.
What's this?
What is this, indeed? That is a secret wall. It's not super useful, but there it is. Ta-da!
And what does the flame reveal?
What's this? What's this? There's something on the floor. What's this? There's something tangled in the web. We're gonna want to go around, though, to this doorway. What do you got? Come at me, monsters. There they are. Ooh. Ooh. Quick save. You cannot save while in combat. Oh boy. The longer we don't aggro that, the better. Yeah, let's enjoy that. Let's enjoy this. Oh yeah. We got like a nice little extended intro where we weren't yet covered in bad things, so that's good. Quickly summon things, please. We both are 3 chants deep, thankfully, before she actually aggroed. Just fantastic news. Now cover her in things. And blind the shit out of everyone, hopefully. They're only immune to web. Hopefully only immune to web. Let's increase everybody's damage reduction over here. I need them to not hurt us. Okay. So that's some help. That's good. Let's just blast this thing. We need to screw up this Spider Queen bad. And let's knock you prone, because then you can change targets. Have you just fight the Spider Queen. There we go. Alright, everyone's on the Spider Queen. Human skeleton is ineffective against Spider Queen. That's fine. That's not really your job, being effective at combat. Blow up this. Wait, are you guys vessels? Will it hurt allied vessels? I don't know. I guess we'll learn something today. I'm at level 2 spells now, because I went all in just now. It's gonna pause every time the human skeletons are ineffective in combat, of course. It exploded. There we go. I got aggressive with that one. Listen, I don't like spiders. They're rough and they get everywhere. What is this? The old react. It's a stiletto. It's a knife. One-handed, fast. 3 damage reduction bypass. 20% of damage restored as endurance. Another life steal weapon. Damaging 1 plus 15% damage. Was it not fine yet? It has draining, which is a great bonus. It has draining and it has DR bypass, which increases its damage, which therefore increases its draining. And it can still be upgraded to become fine, which would be nice. It's not exactly the type of weapon this group usually uses, but it's good. Weathered and covered with dull patina, this elaborately carved pillar appears far older than the surrounding structure. Money. Wow, yeah, we're in a good spot at the moment.
Huh? Aye?
Everyone poke around, see if you find something. This door probably opens. That door totally opens. I can see a staircase behind it already, clearly.
I shall be quiet as a calm sea, which is not very quiet.
Get in there, everybody. No? Not at the moment? Alright, let's see what's behind here, because that was a big ol' spider boss. Bet something cool is over here. Hopefully. Ooh, okay. That's something. What am I looking at? That's a hand. That's a giant hand. And then an escape path, I suppose. But we still have the magic barrier and the staircase that's hidden away.
Shh. Huh?
Following your lead.
What is the highest mechanic skill of the group? 6. Yep, it's immediately you.
Right away.
If anyone's going to be poking around, it's probably you. Maybe it's up here? Ah. I don't know. Maybe we're just not ready yet to find that kind of thing. Or maybe I have to open it from behind by finding some other way through here. Or maybe the throne will know something about it. Kinda thought that might be the case with the other thing, at least. The, magical barrier. So I wonder if we'll encounter Mayor Wald in any... I don't know, he said that... the narrator, I think, said something along the lines of him being bound silently. Which doesn't bode super well.
Breeches, Scholar Lad.
I beg your pardon?
Nothing. I said nothing.
They talked about Mayor Wald being bound silently. So I'm wondering if he'll ever show up again, or if that's it. A bit to sleek your breeches, Scholar Lad. I'm not sure what to make of that. Whoa, look at all that new dialogue. That sounds like innuendo, but I'm not entirely sure. Aloth seems lost in thought. He flinches when you draw near, sucking a sharp breath through his teeth.
What can I do for you?
You can start by explaining what's going on.
I wish I could. But as to walking memories and the old man who can no longer distinguish them from reality, I fear I'm at a loss. And if Mayor Wald is to be believed, it would seem you've an uncertain future ahead.
My situation is more dire than I realized. We've got to find this leaden key and fast.
That does seem like the logical course of action. I shall follow your lead. That old watcher. I don't know what I expected, but it sure wasn't that.
You said you had some things you wanted to ask him.
It's kind of embarrassing now. I just got a dumb idea in my head is all. Don't know why I thought it'd work. It's funny. That's probably the first thing I got my hopes up for in, I don't know, years. At least I got that out of it.
There's no need to be embarrassed. I won't judge.
All right. Guess fair is fair, and you did bring me to see him. Those rumors back in Gilded Vale about my brother, Woden, about how he'd turned against us and fought for Widewin, been on my mind for some time now. The thing about Woden was, he always knew what was right, and that's what he'd do. One day he set out to fight for Deerwood against a man claiming to be our god. So I knew that's what I had to do too. It was right. Hearing claims that he died fighting for Recapture, that got me worried. Not that he'd chosen the wrong side, but that I had. Didn't seem right what Wildwood had in store, but if he really was Aethys...
He shakes his head.
I thought, maybe this old Watcher would know how my brother died, so I could see if it was true. Like he could, I don't know, read it in my soul or something. Use our connection. Told you it was dumb.
Why didn't you ask me for help? Guess because I didn't know you. It's hard to trust a stranger that says he's a Watcher.
Of course, I knew the truth deep down. A Watcher's not psychic. I think I just had this idea, and the idea made me feel a certain way, and I didn't want to lose that.
Really, if I wanted to find out about my brother, I shouldn't be starting with Watchers. I should be starting with records. You should be prepared that there may be no record of your brother's death. Wouldn't be any worse off then, would I? Edda thinks a moment. His lips twisted to one side. He raises his eyebrows. If there was anything written down about that, they'd have it in Defiance Bay. They got an archive at that palace.
You've done a lot for me already, but if you could see fit to pay that archive a visit with me, well, you know. Knowing my luck, the records clerk will go crazy and try to kill me. I'd feel better with you in there with me.
He does not think well of his chances, just sort of across the board.
Hey.
Edda scratches his head and smirks. Well, I guess talking to a crazy Watcher is better than talking to no Watcher at all. I wanted to ask something about you. If you're sure. What did you do before this?
Oh, other than the war, I never strayed too far from where you found me. Farming, mostly. I was never much for cities. Never learned a trade. In my younger days, I thought I was going to go preach the word of Aethys, just in our temple there. My parents encouraged it. I made so much trouble for them growing up. They used to say it'd be best if I got in good with the God of Redemption. Of course, us blowing him up probably didn't help my chances there. But if anybody'd forgive you for blowing him up, it'd be Aethys.
Did the people of Gilded Vale really try to kill you?
They did. It was strange timing, because we just won the war. They celebrated when I came home. There was music and dancing. Trumbull used half his grain making this big honey cake. I still dream about that cake. Like having the best lover of your life, but only for one night. And they were all sorry to hear about my brother. Took a while for word of the purges to reach us. Aethasians being murdered in the streets. Cold morn and the like. No way would they let something like that happen in Gilded Vale. That's what they all said. But the weeks went by and the purges spread. Pretty soon they weren't so sure my brother fought for Deerwood. And they weren't so sure I did. Caught me by surprise after all the celebrating. Should have seen it coming after the tailor said he was going to fit me for some new clothes, but then all he wanted was my neck measurement.
Really?
Nah, not that last part. But you had to think about it. Says a lot about the place I've been calling home all these years.
Why did you stay for so long in a town that hated you?
I'm sure my parents are still wondering the same thing. The Aethasian purges were like this madness had come over the town, like a disease. Seems like when you see something like that, your instinct is to wait for it to pass, even when you know it probably won't. The family whose farm I worked on, they had a little hollowborn girl. And they heard the Animancers had this cure, the salvation it was called. They went running. This salvation, they were putting animal souls in children. You might have heard about it, giving them enough personality to care for themselves. You can guess how that turned out. Matter of time, the children broke down. became wild things, monsters. Anyway, these farmers put the family dog's soul in the little girl. For a while, the girl, she's making eye contact, she's feeding herself, albeit in a kind of messy way. And one day she snaps. They found her gnawing on her brother's bones. Had to chain her up, put her in a cow pen.
Was the brother... I'm taking that the brother was alive until then.
Well, the mother, she wouldn't have anything to do with the girl after that. But the father, he'd visit every day. Feed her chickens, toss water on her once in a while to get the dirt off. Most of the village, they'd whisper about him. Poor man, they'd say, sick with grief. He was just waiting for his daughter to look up one day and recognize her papa. He was waiting for her to get better. Didn't understand that at the time, of course, but these days I think about him a lot.
Yeah, that's not how... That wouldn't make a lot of sense for animal souls, right? Because essentially that person is then that animal, not someone else. Am I right in thinking that somebody who's born soulless basically isn't a person, just sort of like an empty vessel? And so it's, in a sense, he never had a daughter. It's more like they birthed, well, a vessel. A daughter-shaped body, but no actual daughter inside of it. Do you have any family? Just my parents now. They took a ship back to Adir when the purges started. Wanted me to go with them, but I didn't see things like they did. Been a long time since I've seen them. I really should visit, but for some reason I haven't felt much like leaving home. Good thing they chased me out, or I might have never left. Tell me about your brother.
Woden was, about everything you'd want your firstborn son to be. Dutiful, honest, put thought into everything he did. Real pain in my ass. Made me look bad about every way he could. It wasn't something he tried to do, but of course that just makes it worse. Not that he didn't get into trouble himself. He was just better about feeling guilty after. We used to have this farmer near us, Hereward. Couldn't stop talking about how well he cared for his chickens. How their feathers were the whitest in town. Convinced the butcher to pay him double what the other farmers got. Me and Woden got tired of hearing it. I was maybe 11, 12 at the time. We borrowed about 6 different dyes from the dyer one night. Dyed Hereward's chickens every color but white. Next morning, the butcher comes knocking, asking for 6 of his whitest chickens. We were feeling great, up until Hereward saw what we'd done. He just got on his knees and cried right there, all those colorful chickens around him not knowing what to make of it. I thought it served him right, but I could tell Woden had other thoughts. Sure enough, the next day, every one of those chickens had been scrubbed down. They weren't white, mind you, but Woden sure tried. Never said a word to me about it, but I knew. That was Woden. My parents, they always let us be who we were. Never told me to be more like him or anything like that. Which was good, because I was never gonna.
I want to ask you about something else.
What's on your mind?
That kind of split between their two personalities could be a potential explanation if it does turn out that they did end up fighting for 2 different sides by the end, which is what he's wondering about. I was wondering about Aothus.
It makes 2 of us.
What is there to know about Aothus?
If you're looking to find religion, maybe you want to start with a god that hasn't been burned to dust, but I won't stop you. Aothus, he was a young man with a silver crown. Carried a candle around with him. Sounds like I'm giving a bad eulogy here.
He was a lot of different things to different people, I guess. Rebirth, redemption, light. Out in the country, he's gone. The farmer, who helps all things pass, seasons and people both. He watches over the weak, does Gone. Sees imbalances made right. You could see why all the copperless rowdies around here might take a liking to someone like that. He was real popular here for a time. These days you won't find too many worshipping Eothas in the open. It's hard to know who still does it in private and who's given up. Feels like I'm the last one sometimes. He smirks. But if that's the case, he deserves all the mourning. Do you still worship Eothas?
In my way. I don't suppose he expects me to show up at his temple these days. Not much left to do for him other than keep his memory alive and keep hoping that he's just been playing a joke on all of us these past 15 years.
As far as I know, he hasn't said anything to anybody since the Godhammer detonated. Why worship him then? He grimaces. Well, if it turns out he's not dead, and I gave up on him, I'd have betrayed my god twice. Even the god of redemption's gotta have standards. I'd probably be reborn as a fat Amawa's horse. That's not it, though. Not all of it, anyway. He casts a sidelong glance. Guess it's more I still believe in the things he believed in. I still hope his death doesn't mean the death of all those things as well. Sometimes it looks that way. Why'd you choose to worship Eothas in the beginning?
Raised that way. My family's been Eothasian going way back. Suppose it wasn't much of a choice at first. Don't know for sure why my family started worshiping him. Probably because of Gon looking after folks like us.
He looks you in the eye, conspiratorial. Could just as well be that my ancestor did something so bad only Eothas could forgive. It'd explain a lot about where I got some of my less respectable traits. Did you only worship him because that's how you were raised?
Mm-mm. There was something I genuinely liked about Eothas. Always. Like he understood people better than the other gods. Knew all our flaws and weaknesses and accepted us for that. Folks are at their worst when they're afraid. A god like Eothas, he made you realize there was nothing to fear. Made you a better person. Of course, he goes away for a few years and look what happens.
What made you think Wadwin didn't speak for Eothas?
Was his actions. I mean, not when he started his rebellion, and not even when he took over Raed Saris. It was when he sent his armies into Dyrwood.
Up to that point, he was sticking up for his people. That's what Eothas does, at least the Gon part of him. Those farmers were starving, and their government didn't lift a finger. I figured if it wasn't Eothas himself, at least he had the right idea. But then he sent armies across the border. Even crossed it himself in the end. Word was, he was chasing refugees that escaped the rebellion. Wanted to punish them, and punish us for allowing them to live here. That just didn't fit for me. Those are the deeds of a vengeful god. Caed, or Wedeka maybe. Or just a man who'd lost his sense. I still have trouble believing it, but there's no one left to ask if it's true. Tell me about the purges.
You sure you don't want to talk about something more pleasant? Like the War of Black Trees or the Legacy or something?
It's eye-opening, seeing just how naked you are when you've got no god to protect you. The Saints' War was a hard time to be Dyrwooden. People thought it was the end times. They'd talk big about how we were going to defeat a god. But I don't think there was a man from here to the White March didn't think he was going to die. It does something to you, thinking you're going to die at someone else's hands. There's a rage that comes, indignation. Imagine a whole country full of that. Might have been Cold Morn that started it. Town near the border. They let Wadwin march right on through. Rest of Dyrwood cursed their names till the end of the war. Some say it was the Eothasians that persuaded the town not to oppose the army. Others said it was just cowardice. It was like the legacy that way. No one knew the real reason, so they just picked whichever one best suited what they wanted to believe. Either way, the town was burning before the first ashes of Aothis hit the ground, and it felt good to the people here, to be in control after being so helpless. So the fire spread. A lot of us Aothasians went the way of our god. There were claims from the Church of Magran that she'd actually commanded the purges. I found that hard to believe. Sounded to me like people doing what they wanted, wrapping their god around her like she was a cloak. Then again, that's what I thought about Waidwin. That's, a decent chunk of history, in general. People doing what they wanted, then wrapping their god around it. It's a hell of a way to put it.
What's on your mind?
Alright, that one took a little longer than the other character, because Adair is just a way more open person than Aloth is at the moment. Let's catch up with the actual statue.
I felt Mayor Wald's passing. You slew him.
He gave me no choice.
It saddens me to hear it. But part of me is grateful to no longer have to wait and worry in darkness. This place has always known its master, long as it's had one. It has a will all its own, which has little to do with the castle and much to do with the land it's built on. It looks to you as Mayor Wald's successor now, whether you care for it or not. A dubious honor, inheriting a fortress both broken and cursed. But in the right hands, it could be so much more. If you had only seen it in its day. Will you stay?
Your stronghold is now available. You can manage a stronghold at any time through the castle icon. Bloop. Gotta click this away. You guys can't see it, but there's a pop-up from something that decided to just come over my game. Thanks. There we go. Mayor Wald said I must go to the City of Defiance in search of the Queen. The energy seems all at once to drain from the air. I see. If it's Defiance Bay you seek, I'm sorry to tell you that you've come a long way for nothing. The Eastern Barbican collapsed decades ago, and Mayor Wald never got around to rebuilding it. The road here is a dead end. He got as far as gathering materials before his mind became preoccupied. I could make arrangements to have it repaired, if it is your will. When it ceased to be the previous master's will, I became powerless to do anything about it. For what am I but the master's instrument? It would take time, but far less than finding another route to Defiance Bay. What does being the master of Cadnua entail? Why, there are many responsibilities involved in maintaining a keep. The extent to which you wish to get involved is entirely up to you, of course. But the reason I am here is to ensure that things run smoothly in your absence, provided we have been given instruction. If you instruct me on which repairs you wish to conduct next, I will make the necessary arrangements. These may take some time to finish, but each will provide you with additional resources once they are complete. Given somewhere to place them, we can hire tradesmen to provide you with supplies or ingredients. Repairing the keep will raise your prestige, and draw both helpful individuals and unwelcome attention from bandits and opportunists. If we can raise the keep's security in turn, these will become less of a concern. You should know, however, that the position does come with some risk. Your name will grow in fame, and you must contend with threats to the keep. And then there are other things. How do we repair the Barbican? Mayor Wald set aside materials for the Barbican, and they are still available to you. In the future, if you wish to make further repairs to the keep, you will need coin for supplies and labor. What did you mean when you said this keep was cursed? Merriweld's curse was his own, a watcher's curse, but his predecessors have not fared better. There was a presence within the keep, or rather, far beneath it. At least, such has been the conclusion drawn by all who have come to this place. For what spirits still linger in the endless path oft speak of a master below. Every effort to settle here has failed. From the time of our Adiran colonists onward, beasts rise from the endless paths until the new lord or lady is no more. The one who dwells below, this master, does not tolerate rivals, it seems. I have seen from time to time intrepid explorers descend to lay claim to what answers they can, but none return. It sounds so much like Darkest Dungeon. This is the force which has kept Cadnua a barren ruin, and robbed me of my hopes. The endless paths, that, my friend, is where I must go, where we must go, if you will go with me. Whatever devils lie beneath, think too what knowledge we will find. Perhaps this master speaks Adiran. What are the endless paths? The endless paths of Adnua. That is the name given to the labyrinth beneath the keep. The Earl, we were warned by the Glanfathans that this site was cursed, and there is a legend attached to it, though at the time we thought nothing of it. The ruins were built, it is said, by a power Engwithan named Adnua, who ruled there until his people turned against him. They destroyed his endless paths and filled many of the upper tunnels with soil and stone. No one living knows how far down the tunnels stretch, and few who have ventured there have returned. There's much talk of riches and treasure. The promise of Engwithan relics alone has drawn many fortune seekers to their deaths, I fear. Who is this master below? I could not say with any certainty. I believe it must be tied to the man said to have been the architect of the endless paths, the Engwithan tyrant Adnua. Some claim his spirit endures, or at least has laid a curse upon the site. I cannot imagine much remains of his work, for the ruins have been here 1,000 years or more, but what is left is impressive. The Earl certainly thought so. You may have seen, while below, the hand of the great statue Adnua constructed. Perhaps it is a statue of Adnua himself. But am I not the master of Cadnua? Of course you are. The keep would have no other, but the endless paths are a different thing entirely. It is unfortunate, really, that they are so closely entwined. If the master below is not dealt with, there will always be a threat to the keep from within. I know this is much to take in, but if you would remain, if you would be lord of this place, then I can only advise you seek out this foe before it destroys you. Time to find this queen in the city of Defiance. You must know, this queen you're looking for, Defiance Bay has no queen. The Maquins of Eder haven't reigned here since the war. The only queen with any power there is Warka. I am told they erected an exquisite temple in her honor there, but I was never able to see it. If you mean to go there, we can get started right away on repairing the Barbican. You need only tell me what you wish to do, and I'll make the necessary arrangements. Merriweald kept a ledger, as it happens, and I have taken the liberty of updating it. You can take a look if you wish. Let me see what repairs I can make. Then we'll get underway at once. The steward's voice belies a giddy excitement. Know, my lord, that this is but the first and least of many great undertakings. The keep supported a great many buildings and servants for many years. If you should wish it, we can repair some of the outlying structures, and these will bring you wealth and recognition, drawing people to your service. Rebuilding the defenses will keep your grounds from becoming overrun, as they did under Merriweld's keeping. You need not choose all at once. I am pledged to your aid, and so long as you are master here, we shall always be linked. You need not step upon these grounds to speak with me. Whenever your travels may take you, you can make your will known to me, if you but reach out. Oh, but first, of course, the Barbican. Upgrades to your stronghold cost money and take time to complete. Each upgrade can add security or prestige to the stronghold or add additional functionality like resting bonuses, periodic free crafting ingredients, or new stores. This is familiar. This is, yeah, they kept the system in Tyranny with your tower. Bit of a rough sell in this case, isn't it? They're like, yeah, the extent to which they're talking about, like, no big deal. It's just the more you upgrade this place, it's going to be very expensive, and it's gonna increase your fame, which is something you're gonna have to contend with, and it's gonna add threats because things are gonna attack you. Oh, and by the way, there's an ancient evil that's thousands of years old that will destroy you from within. So no big deal. Isn't it nice having a keep? It's like, it's a real tough sell. You really have to get through all the other details to really understand what actually is going to be gained by doing any of this. There's like a tree. A bunch of these things require other things. The hedge maze increases security. That's a little silly. That's funny. The Eastern Barbican. The Eastern Barbican gates passage to the wooded plains, the crossroads between Cadnua, Deerford, and Defiance Bay. 2 security, 1 fame. Prestige, I suppose. Oh. Events occur at the stronghold as time elapses. The higher your stronghold's prestige, the more positive the events tend to be. However, a high security is also important, as it can help prevent theft and kidnappings. Adventures are opportunities for your companions and adventurers to go earn experience while they aren't in the party. Visitors can affect security and prestige of the stronghold while they are present. Some events even offer rare items for sale during limited periods of time. Those are upgrades, those are hirelings. But we need a barracks first. Hirelings help defend your stronghold from expensive collateral damage in the unfortunate event of an attack. They cost money to maintain, but their cost usually offsets the potential for damage. Hirelings also contribute to the security and prestige of the stronghold, sometimes negatively. And then there's your party management for when you actually have more characters than fit in your party. We're not quite there yet. Nothing new to report. Alright. Get the first step down. Oh! It doesn't have an endurance. It doesn't have a duration, it just starts. But these other ones cost money. Big old chunks of money. So this is totally why the game required me to... This is totally why the game gave me a bunch of money before I came in here. Well, while I was going in the under areas. Because now I've got $2 grand to potentially spend. Because this place is expensive. So if I want to hire people, I need a barracks. Which probably requires main keep. Most of the things require a main keep, or the Western Barbican, or a Bailey. And the Bailey requires a main keep. Even the Western, yeah, everything requires the main keep, or the Bright Hollow Restoration, which is, that must be the, yeah, that's the building that I saw out front. That looks like it's the, yep, it looked like it was basically the equivalent of a tavern and an inn that we have. This gets expensive fast. This is basically the purchase that lets you start having stuff happen, though. Upgrading the main keep will repair your great hall, allowing visitors and adventurers to be available to you and your companions. That'll take 3 days, and most of my money. Oh boy. Let it begin. So we got a few new things to contend with, including the fact that there is an evil monster under my building. Hooray. So I have side quests in the world, I have a main story to contend with, and I balance that with this ongoing Master Below, which I've never engaged with, but I imagine it might be a campaign-long side quest. Maybe it's over imagined in my head because I've never engaged with it. Maybe it is just you go down there and fight him and it's over. But I imagine that it's like a big campaign length thing where it's like you kind of poke in there and go a little deeper here and there as you progress through the story, because maybe it gets progressively harder and you can't really fully finish beating it until your end game level. But I don't actually know if that's true or not. That's just what I kind of figure it might be like. And we've got our keep. We're one character closer to having a full roster, and once I have a full roster, I'll feel happier about trying to storm that asshole's castle.